Right. Nevertheless, we are seeing a bit of a bounce in Bitcoin right now. And we have just heard news that Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, has reached a deal with Twitter. Twitter has agreed to be taken over at $54.20 a share, of course, which is a 38% premium over the stock price when it was revealed that Musk had become the company's biggest shareholder. All right, let's bring in our crypto markets guest, Michael Safai, managing partner at Dexterity Capital. Hi, Michael, thanks for joining us. So yes, we are seeing Bitcoin having a bit of a bounce amid this news that Twitter has reached an agreement with Elon Musk. So we'd love to get your reaction.
Well, I'm hoping Elon saves crypto like he has before. But kidding aside, I think, what we've seen the past few days is kind of the story of global macro. There's more bad news than there is good news. And we're hearing about inflation, we're hearing about the Fed hikes, supply chain problems, etc. But we don't have a crypto native kind of story or narrative to bolster or counteract that. And so kind of what's happening is that we've gotten to a position where we're range bound and we're very closely tracing the equities market. And this is what happens when there's not a crypto narrative to combat all the global macro stuff. And you saw it today with that chart you just put up. As equities slumped, so did Bitcoin, and it came right back as equities did. And this is kind of a symptom of what's changing in the crypto ecosystem. You're seeing a lot more institutional money and players in the space than you did a year ago, and especially more than 2 or 3 years ago. And so what we're seeing is similar behavior across asset classes. So kind of seen this before, and I think until we see a big crypto...
to break this narrow trading range? What will it take to break through this narrow trading range then?
Sure. I think some kind of crypto narrative that actually changes the dialogue is what we're waiting for. So something good has to happen for Bitcoin to change the story.
maybe Elon Musk can change the story with the town hall of the internet with the Twitter. So what is the strategy to navigate this very thin volume market?
Well, I think it depends on what kind of trader you are, and what institutional and professional traders are doing are running strategies that work in this range-bound environment. We're bouncing between high 30s and low 40s, and there are strategies that work for that. Straddles, overlay strategies, these are the kind of things pros are doing. Now for retail, it's a bit hard because retail bets on direction. What retail can do, however, is look beyond Bitcoin and see what's happening at altcoins, where there's lots of great yields still to be had.
All right. So, well, I guess backing up, how are traders positioning themselves in options market, futures market? And that kind of gives us a sense of where Bitcoin is headed going forward. And I guess secondly, how is Bitcoin affecting the rest of the crypto market?
Yeah, I think if we look at kind of the short-term outlook, there's not a lot of great news, as I said earlier. But we are hearing from OTC desks that longer term, Q4 and Q1 of next year, there's a lot of interest in buying calls from their option desks. And so that's indicative of kind of a lot of people being optimistic about the long-term performance of crypto. Shorter term, it's a bit harder.
All right. And you mentioned the alt market. So how is Bitcoin affecting the rest of the alts, the crypto markets, if at all?
So often they're correlated with alts being a bit more volatile, but there are a few breakouts that have really outperformed the market. You can look at Tron, who just announced they'd be launching a stablecoin that's going to generate very generous yields for its staker. You can look at Luna, a perennial favorite that's been doing really well over the past few months. And you can also look at even Monero, a privacy coin that's making a fundamental change in how they're actually executing their fees and how the system works. And so those guys have been outperforming, and you can find those gems in that space.